What we got here today is a rogues gallery of bullshitters, and we're going to start off first with the Senate committee hearings that were happening this morning for the CEOs of Google, Twitter, and Facebook. First and foremost, Facebook Twitter CEOs struggle to name a single liberal who has been censored on their platforms because I know I can't think of any, but let's see if Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey can come up with some names. I bet they won't. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and CEO Jack Dorsey struggled to name a single liberal person or entity who has been censored by their social media platforms on Wednesday during a Senate hearing on big tech. Twitter and Facebook have been accused of bias against conservatives. Is it accused anymore if you can absolutely prove it that it only happens on one side of the aisle? One thing I'll give Tim Pool unequivocal credit for is he absolutely torched that bitch of a lawyer that Jack Dorsey brought on Joe Rogan's podcast about, what, 16 months ago, 18 months ago, however long it's been. And yeah, it only happens on one side of the aisle, and they use, oh, I don't know, my feelings kind of arguments, but we can go ahead and move on from that. So Senator Mike Lee of Utah asked both Zuckerberg and Dorsey to name one high-profile person or entity from a liberal ideology who has been censored for what they've done on their platforms. And here's what the skin suit wearing asexual robot Mark Zuckerberg had to say. I can get you a list of some more of this, but there certainly are many examples that your Democratic colleagues object to when a fact checker might label something as false if they disagree with it, or what the fuck was that? I can get you a list of some more of this, but there are certainly many examples that your Democratic colleagues object to. I'm fucking lost. I don't even I think his fucking programming was short-circuiting there because, hey, name me one high-profile person or entity from a liberal ideology who has been censored or had actions taken against them. Your Democratic colleagues object to when a fact checker, the fucking balls on this idiot to answer that way. I get that. I just want to be clear. I'm asking you if you could name me one high-profile liberal person or company who you have censored. Senator Lee said, just one. Just one. Just name me one. Kind of like how Joe Biden got answered, or cornered rather, by Donald Trump at the first debate. Just name me one law enforcement agency, Joe, that supports you. Just name me one. Just name me one. And the same answer here applies. You can't, Mark. Now can ya? And here's what Zuckerberg had to say. But there are certainly many issues on both sides of the aisle when people think we are making content moderation decisions that they disagree with. I love that argument from a leftist who's ever fucking losing an argument. Well, we can agree that there's both issues on both sides, you know, you don't have to necessarily agree, but we can agree to shut up and take a side, you fucking dickhead. Have a fucking backbone for once. How about that? Oh no, there's problems on both sides. We can agree, you know, I can sit down and have a conversation. No, how about just make decisive action? Okay, yeah, we are 100% a leftist website. Fucking deal with it. Find your own platform. Or no, hey, we fucked up and we're actually gonna, you know, do something about it. Something that Jack Dorsey had said, oh yeah, you know, we really need to address these. We need to be better. He's been saying that same line of bullshit now for what, 5, 6, 7 years and still hasn't done anything about it. If I hear that one more time from Jack Dorsey, there needs to be legal action taken against him because he can say this shit all the goddamn time, and if nothing comes out of it, all it is just empty words. Empty words. Nothing's gonna come out of it, Jack. Keep spitting that line and everybody will just hate you more and more on both sides. Nobody really likes these guys. Nobody sticks up for Mark Zuckerberg, for Jack Dorsey, because they're just bullshit merchants. They don't stand for anything. In public, in private, I'm sure that they are just lunatic leftists, but in public they try to straddle the line of, oh, we're so impartial. Well, guess what? You aren't, and the evidence is out there. And speaking of the homeless correspondent himself, well, we can give a more exhaustive list, but again, we don't have the political ideology of our accounts, Dorsey said. I'm not asking for an exhaustive list, I'm asking for a single example. Just one individual, one entity. I like this guy, Senator Lee. It's weird that he's also from Utah, considering his in-state counterpart is just a sissy bitch of epic proportions. Let's dig in specifically because old Amy Klobuchar went in on Mark Zuckerberg. Jesus Christ. We need to get that off the screen. That is fucking horrifying. Facebook CEO said he was not aware that a Facebook election integrity official used to work as a policy advisor for former Vice President Joe Biden during a Senate Committee's Section 230 hearing on Wednesday. How goddamn convenient. And this was raised very, very early. Well, here we go, because you know your boy brings receipts. Facebook expert in charge of election integrity formerly worked as policy advisor to Joe Biden on Ukraine. Let me read that one more time for posterity's sake. Facebook expert in charge of election integrity, formerly worked as policy advisor to Joe Biden, election integrity, Biden, Ukraine. Wow. That is hundreds and hundreds of points in Mad Libs, I would imagine. Facebook's election integrity expert formerly worked as a special advisor for European policy to Joe Biden while he served as vice president. Anna Makanju is currently a legal expert working at Facebook, where she leads efforts to ensure election integrity on the platform. Shall I remind you all of the first article that was up here? I think I shall. Facebook Twitter CEOs struggled to name a single liberal person who has been censored on their platforms. Anna worked on Joe Biden's campaign and is a legal expert working at Facebook. How about that? Before that, she was a special policy advisor for Europe and Eurasia to former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden. Boy, it sure is a small world after all, guys. Alright, back to the story. My understanding is that the person that is in charge of election integrity and security at Facebook is a former Joe Biden staffer. Is there someone closely associated with President Trump in that same role at Facebook? Senator John Thune from South Dakota asked the CEOs. How do you all respond to that argument that there isn't sufficient balance in terms of the political ideology or diversity in your companies? Well, geez, we got lots of black people that work here. Our diversity... No, shut up, asshole. It's the only one that matters. Ideology, diversity of ideology. And how do you deal with the lack of trust that creates among conservatives? Oh, we just don't pay attention to them. I think having balance is valuable, and we try to do that. Care to answer the question? I'm not aware of an example, you say, of somebody in charge of this process who worked for Biden in the past, so can we follow up on that? Atlantic Council Senior Fellow Anna Mankinju bio lists her as both a public policy and legal expert at Facebook, where she leads an effort to ensure election integrity on the platform, and a former special policy advisor for Europe and Eurasia to Biden. Facebook partnered with the Atlantic Council ahead of the 2018 election to boost its election security efforts, the Washington Examiner reported. And following the Senate hearings today, we can, take a look at how they're taking a shit kicking in the markets down, with the exception of Twitter, which is far and away the lowest trading stock amongst everybody. They all went down 5.5 points with, like I said, the exception of Twitter, 5.4. But now on to the main event of the Senate hearing here. We had Ted Cruz tear a strip off of beard-bedecked Jack Dorsey. The dude looked as homeless as he will eventually be in about 5-10 years. I'll just try and find a... that's a CEO of one of the most important and powerful tech companies in the entire world. That right there. That homeless liar. Now, to save you all of the doldrums that is Jack Dorsey's speaking voice and the nasally and somewhat condescending manner of Ted Cruz, I'll just go ahead and read you the remarks. Senator Ted Cruz ripped into Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey during a hearing with tech titans on Wednesday, accusing him and his social media platform of improperly censoring reporting that reflected poorly on Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, asking at one point, "Who the hell elected you?" That is the nicest way I've ever seen that put. Improperly censoring reporting that reflected poorly on Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. Exposed as corruption would have been a lot more succinct, but maybe at Fox they have a word quota that they need to hit. The exchange comes as Republicans over the last several weeks, oh my God, tried last several part of a decade, decried Twitter's actions to lock the New York Post's Twitter account and censor links to the outlet's stories on Biden's son Hunter and his overseas business dealings. No, we're more concerned with Joe's overseas business dealings, but what are you going to get from this gradual lean to the left that Fox presents? And here's this same old, tired message that Dorsey's been trotting out. He said that this was due to a policy regarding hacked materials. They weren't even hacked materials, you asshole. They had the originals. Because the stories were based on emails from Hunter Biden's purported laptop, Cruz noted that the New York Times article about President Trump's tax returns did not face the same treatment, even though the materials were illegally leaked. Yeah, exactly. I think I've made that comparison as well. And I said that they were unverified by a second source, and hey, we have no evidence of it. But in the case of Hunter Biden's laptop, we have seen the laptop. We've had it corroborated. But Orange Man bad, right? Mr. Dorsey, who the hell elected you and put you in charge of what the media are allowed to report and what the American people are allowed to hear? And why do you persist in behaving as a Democratic super PAC silencing views to the contrary to your political beliefs? Cruz demanded he answer. Dorsey claimed this was not the case. Oh, okay, cool. So I guess the entire event just ended right there. Yeah, full stop. You know, he didn't know. I'm just a CEO. What the fuck do I know? But I know 100% that we've definitely not done our proper job in informing our populace that we do have proper transparency out there and that we need to do a better job. But he also denied that Twitter has the ability to influence elections. What? Holy shit. And they say that stand-up comedy is dead right now. A claim that Ted Cruz, because he has 2 eyes and 2 ears, decried as absurd. You're testifying to this committee right now that Twitter, when it silences people, when it censors people, when it blocks political speech, that has no impact on elections? And this is the last line I'll read. People have the choice of their communication channels, Dorsey claimed. That, for one, doesn't answer the question that Ted brought up, and 2 is the most absurd thing that you can possibly do. Listen, I love Parler. I think Gab's a great idea, and mine's certainly as well. But if you want to talk to people out there, you have to use Twitter. What is Trump on 3 hours a day? What site does he use that you've put in special regulations for that he can't block anybody from following him? Or when he put little tags on tweets saying that he's harming the integrity of mail-in votes. This dude's just a fucking liar, and I have no idea what consequences they could potentially face for just blatantly being false with everything that they went on to say. The entire hearing's about 4 hours long, and if you have nothing better to do with your life, feel free. It's up there on YouTube, but that's just the cliff notes. The rest of it is just some Democrats handing out softballs and Ted Cruz just going fucking mental. But I said we have a couple more stories to just wrap up into this entire conglomerate, because I don't know what the fuck's going to come out of these Senate hearings. I'd imagine it's just going to be, what, a slap on the wrist until President Trump gets his second term, and then they actually start regulating or turning sites like Facebook and Twitter into public utilities, redoing Section 230. I'd imagine if Trump is elected, of course, this is just going to be the flashpoint and not the last time that we hear from these assholes. But of course, anytime that, well, you wanted to bring up QAnon, you'd get censored off of Facebook, and Twitter, if you misgender somebody, oh god, the most important thing in the entire world, make sure that you use my pronouns, then you get fucking heave-hoed off the platform as well. But if you're on the left, you can just run with any goddamn conspiracy theory that you can possibly believe, just like John Axelrod, Hunter Biden's story, right-wing conspiracy theory, voters don't care. Like he said here earlier, like Jack Dorsey said, people have the choice of their communication channels. Well, can I go on CNN whenever I want to get my message out there? No, you faithful people out there have subscribed to me and liked my content, and this is the best I can do right now. It's a new channel, okay? It's fine. I don't care. I wouldn't want to get a lower viewership count and go on CNN. Why the fuck would I want to do that? But no, these prominent figures, or assholes, as most people like to refer to them as, can, just go out there and spew out verifiably false ideas about something that is corroborated and currently in the hands of the authorities, the FBI. Ugh, like I want to call them an authority. But the voters don't care. Yeah, because a lot of them don't know what's going on because the story is getting censored. Fucking Christ. Former Obama senior advisor David Axelrod said Tuesday on CNN that the allegations of corruption against Democratic nominee Joe Biden's son Hunter are an unverified or right-wing conspiracy theory that is not moving voters. Well, how about the corruption of Joe Biden himself? I think Tony Bobulinski's doing a great job to sow those seeds together. This is no longer just a Hunter Biden being a crackfield fuckfest fanatic, but rather shows a very distinct lack of ability for Joe Biden to be a problem solver, somebody to surround himself with upstanding citizens. But nah, you don't have to defend those. You can just say that it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. Ah, fuck it. See what more of this moron had to say. Grow back that fucking mustache. You're starting to look like a panel van enthusiast. Yeah, you saw at the debate that the president spent maybe 5 to 6 minutes trying to explain it, and it sounded like this: a right-wing conspiracy theory that is unverified. There is more transcendent reality for people right now. Like what? You could probably be mindlessly voting for somebody who has deep ties to the Ukraine, to China, who has done nothing for 47 years, going on 48 years. Congratulations. Are you going to hold a party? Socially distanced, I hope. Just like your pathetic rally in Georgia yesterday. Oh my God. If you guys haven't seen those pictures, if you need a good laugh today, feel free to search that. But yeah, man, all of these conspiracy theories can run wild. Even their unverified sources that they like to cite all the time. Because we got another one that came out today. Anonymous is former DHS official Miles Taylor. Now, he was described as being a senior official at the DHS in the Trump administration. Nothing about that kid screams senior official. But we'll let the good old New York Post, who I will be using a lot because Twitter wants to silence them, I'll fucking help him out and give him a voice. Like, honestly, support good journalism, fucker. Former Department of Homeland Security official Miles Taylor on Wednesday revealed himself as anonymous, the author of an op-ed vowing resistance to President Trump. Taylor, who previously denied he was anonymous, triggered intense speculation about the identity of the disgruntled staffer in September 2018 when he wrote of working diligently from within to frustrate parts of Trump's agenda and his worst inclinations. Taylor, a paid CNN contributor since last month. How fucking hilarious. How hilarious. And is it really hilarious anymore? It's more or less just kind of expected at this point that these people are eventually on the till for MSNBC, CNN, ABC. Just fucking throw some letters in a bag and pick it out. You'll have your mainstream media website. Was DHS chief of staff for less than a year and left the department in 2019. He anonymously wrote the book A Warning last year. Somebody saying bad things about the president in order to write a book about it and cash in for the first 2 weeks? I can't believe it. Nobody's ever done that before. A lot. Taylor's LinkedIn profile said he's on leave from Google, where he worked as U.S. lead for advanced technology and security strategy. I wonder if Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, he'll be asked about that connection here next time that he's in front of the Senate committee. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany dismissed Taylor as a low-level aide in Wednesday afternoon's statement. Yeah, exactly. This low-level disgruntled former staffer is a liar and a coward who chose anonymity over action and leaking over leading. Yeah, because it was just one of those slanderous initial, oh, we have to resist Orange Man because he's so bad. But yet, instead of being held to task, the New York Times, who published the article, or this moron, he gets a nice little contributor paycheck from CNN, and the New York Times never has to face any sort of scrutiny because they're a publisher and the most trusted name in all of print media. In fact, the Gray Lady, the paper of record. Everybody trusts the New York Times, right? Wrong, 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 wrong. And if anything that's coming out today, like what you see here, Biden up by 17 points in new Wisconsin poll. If you guys don't watch or don't read the mainstream media for anything other than a belly laugh, I don't know what to tell you at this point, because if you think even for a fucking second that Joe Biden could be up by 17 points in Wisconsin, a place that Trump won in 2016, okay? He won it. And now ABC has him up by 17% or 17 points. I swear the meltdown that's going to come down after November 3rd, when Trump is announced the winner of the election, the meltdown is going to be even greater and even sweeter than it was in 2016, because they have set themselves up for 4 years of day in, day out, Orange Man bad, and I literally can't wait. It's only 6 more sleeps, right? Counting it down like fucking Christmas at this point, because the payoff's gonna be totally worth it. 4 years of taking shit for being a Trump supporter, just to see them all bitch and whine and cry just a little bit more is... I don't like to revel in anybody's suffering, but I'll take an exception this one time. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.